Hi everyone, and welcome to another Software and Internet Monthly Market Report brought to you by Sampford Advisors. September was another really crazy month on the M&A side of stuff. You can see that $12.1 billion invested in September. We'll put that in the context of the year, but still another huge month. 164 transactions, and the average multiple across all transactions was 6.7 times. Obviously, lots of very large deals as well. HVR for 700 million, Levelset 500 million, Mineral Tree another 500 million. So lots of multi-$100 million transactions are happening in the market, and lots of volume just generally across the board. You can see how that kind of plays out in terms of where we're going to end the year. So far this year, we've done $232 billion of volume. That's way ahead already of the full year of 2020, which was already a record. So at the current run rate, we should be well over $300 billion of activity, which would be a huge increase over the record. And you can also see the number of transactions has really spiked, right? So we've talked about this a lot, how transaction volume was dipping into 2019 and 2020. But the number of deals has really increased this year, and that's a lot to do with the mid-market, and the benefit is going to some of those mid-market companies as well as the large companies. In terms of multiples, I think this is an interesting way to kind of show the difference between the low end multiples and the high end multiples. If you look back at the start of this chart in 2017. The spread really, wasn't that wide, especially between the median and the top. But it's really blown out since COVID. And you can see that really in the last few bars where there's been this explosion of high-end transactions happening at really high-end multiples. So I think this is a trend that we're going to see continuing, where those premium businesses are fetching high-end multiples and the other businesses are fetching just typical multiples for the SaaS businesses. And then you can obviously see the difference between SaaS and non-SaaS on here. A real separation this year has continued between the SaaS and non-SaaS businesses, with the average SaaS business getting a 9.6 times multiple and the average non-SaaS business getting 4 times multiple. So a big difference and spread that's continued to kind of evolve this year, and a trend that we're seeing definitely in our transactions and likely to continue for the foreseeable future. We've talked a lot about kind of monthly deal volume and the recovery since pre-COVID numbers. Obviously we've mentioned every month about pre-COVID running at like 90 to 100 transactions a month on a typical month. Since COVID, that's really exploded. As you can see, September was very similar trend, 164 transactions for the month. So well within the post-COVID deal numbers that we've seen. We do think that, deal volume has been pulled forward a little bit. So I don't think this can continue forever, but I expect for the rest of the year probably to be at the same sort of levels. But after that, we might see a bit of a trailing off as all the good companies have kind of been pulled forward their M&A deals and done them sooner than they would have ordinarily done them. On the VC side, similar trends, 12.3 billion invested in September, 476 transactions, and a median deal size of 5.1. So still a lot of deal volume. You can see on the right-hand side of this page, lots of transactions in the hundreds of millions of deal size have happened over the last month. So very encouraging trends on the VC side of stuff as well. And you can see that in terms of the deal volume. So we're almost at double of last year's record. We're going to be way ahead of that, probably expecting to do over 6,800 transactions for the year and $120 billion of volume. So way ahead, more than double what we saw last year. And then lastly, in terms of valuations on the VC side, those trends have kind of continued with the multiples really going up. On the early side of things, 30.5 times. On the mid side of stuff, 25 times. And then on the late stage, 24 times. So really elevated multiples from what we saw last year. Anyway, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to any of the team at Sampford Advisors, and have a great month.